All right, so let's get into the careers that excite me. Some careers that you may not know. Some of them have been there for a while and some of them are new. All right. So there's geologists that work at a bank. All right. So there's geologists that work in mergers and acquisitions. For example, a large-scale mine wants to take over a smaller mine. Somebody has to tell them, is it technically viable? Who is going to tell them the grade? Okay, so there's grades. Let's say, you know what a grade is, guys, right? Grams per ton, all right? Who's going to tell them how many grams per ton? Who's going to tell them how many ounces they are? Because the smaller company can report, but what if their reporting is not right? So there's people who are technical advisors for mergers and acquisitions, all right? But if you want to go down this stream, so you'll be working in finance, but you've got your technical skills. So if you want to work in this stream, you have to do the groundwork first, all right? In other words, you'd have to go into exploration, or you'd have to start off in mining and then move up, maybe do a finance degree or a postgraduate diploma in something that's related to finance, and then you can work your way into working at a financial institution, all right? Anybody who you think that would interest you? All right, so at least one person might go into mergers and acquisitions. And by the way, if you think a geology salary is fat, these guys' salary, guys. Hey, anyway. But I'm not saying live for money, guys. No? I'm not saying live for money. All right. Geologists that work in construction. Many people don't realize that when you build a building, what does it sit on? It sits on the ground. And what is the ground made up of? Rocks. So somebody needs to do some assessments before they start building. All right. Somebody needs to make sure that they're not building on dolomite. Why? Because dolomite gets water, it's going to dissolve, and there's going to be a sinkhole. So who's going to tell them that? Who has that knowledge? It has to be a geologist. You understand? So you can go into construction, especially if you don't want to go work underground or work in rural areas at the mine, and you can stay in the city. All right. Then there's a rock engineer, all right? Rock engineer is very similar also to construction geologists, all right? They do a very similar type of work, but the difference is a rock engineer also works at a mine, all right? And a rock engineer, there's certain certificates that you have to write. So they call them tickets, you know? That's the colloquial term for it at the mines. You have to get your rock engineering ticket. And rock engineers, especially for people who like working with formulas and numbers. So if you have you enjoy a maths background, so if you enjoy maths especially and formulas, you'll like rock engineering, because rock engineering has to do a lot with using formulas to look at the stresses and the strains in a rock, all right? And also if you enjoyed structural geology as well, you would do good as a rock engineer, because it also covers a lot of aspects that have to do with structural geology. Then you can be like me, a consultant or an entrepreneur. Well, I'm a mix of two on there. All right. So a consultant, the nice thing about being a consultant is that a consultant, you can work pretty much in anything. All right. And I'll show you an example of a testimonial of Adi. Some of you might know her. She was here. And she works as a consultant, but she does even things like environmental impact assessments. All right. And she even works on some technical and social aspects as well. Okay. So you can be that, or you can be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is not, and I didn't write business person or a businesswoman specifically, because a business, for me, when you're a business person, you can start a business and then go get a tender. You're a business person. But an entrepreneur means you have to have a certain skill set. You have to be tenacious. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, I started my business last year, January, but it's only this year that I'm getting my first project. Okay. So just to show you, I could have given up a long time ago because I've had many no's shut in my face. So you have to have perseverance if you want to be an entrepreneur, okay? And you have to be able to be your own boss. You have to be able to say, even if it's a Sunday and a client can call you and say they want something by that Monday morning, you have to be able to tell yourself to wake up, get up. You have to tell yourself to wake up, get up, and do the work that you have to do, all right? Then there's a geotechnical engineer, all right? And I'm not going to speak to this one because Cameron Penn Clark is going to, in his testimonial, I'm going to show you what he says about being about geotechnical engineers and how we need more of them now, and how over the years geotechnical engineers have kind of died down. All right. An ASM practitioner, ASM is artisanal and small scale mining. So what's nice about ASM, or something that I like, is that you get to use various skill sets. All right, you get to use your skill set and knowledge of geology, especially when you're helping small scale miners try to figure out exactly what it is they're mining, because a lot of them don't have geological knowledge. Or you can also be a researcher in ASM, all right, where you work on research projects. And there's various aspects you can look at. You can look at gender, you can look at child labor, you can look at mineral and policy development, you can look at various aspects, okay, but it's within the scope of ASM. Or I've written there, or a CSR specialist. CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. All right, I don't know if you know this, but all large-scale mining companies have to do some community development work. In other words, they have to give back to the community in which they work. So if you understand the mining value chain, so in other words, you would need to understand what happens in a mine, and you understand the mining value chain, then you'd be able to show the miners, by miners I mean the mining company, you'd be able to show the mining company what exactly they can do to aid them, the community, while at the same time they are aiding themselves as a mining company. For example, if they're doing enterprise development, you can show them which are the great enterprises that work hand in hand with their supply chain. All right. And then lastly, but definitely not least, especially this is for those of you who are doing geography related with geology as well, you find that you become an environmental officer. And an environmental officer is typically always outdoors, okay? So if you enjoy the outdoors, it's something for you. And if you're passionate about the environment and passionate about keeping Mother Earth clean, you can do that. And you can do it either within the mining aspect, where you're looking at rehabilitation, or you can do it before mining, where you're doing environmental impact assessments, all right? So these are just a few of the careers that are there.